Hello, YouTube! This is the third installment in our World Series for Borderlands. So this is going to be, again, each Vault Hunter per base game world. You take one Vault Hunter, one world, and you can only use the items from that world, with the exception of the EMP5, specifically only used for movement, and the artifact spot, with the exception of the Company Man, is only allowed to be used with Pandora. So we have Fl4k and Eden-6. We named the build Fl4ken. Let's get into the items. We are using the Chaoses and the Hornet most of the time. There are some pretty fun things that you can do with Eden-6. You can do some pretty fun things with Infinity and the Terror damage fire rate, and you can do some pretty funny and fun things with the Hex and the Unforgiven. Boom sickles are great, however, with the two class mods that we have available, I wouldn't really advise those specifically, but you can still use them, and terror damage fire rate with those is a lot of fun. Of course, since it is Fl4k, if you want to go fade away and use reflux, always a solid option. The Garcia and the Lob will also do you quite well, and if you want to use the Face Puncher to proc your terror with the melee terror generation, you can do that. The Plague Bearer is also a very solid choice. However, through testing, I just found that the Hornet and Chaos just gave me the most consistent overall damage that I was looking for. There were a couple of options for shields. You could go Big Boom Blaster, Frozen Heart. I found with going with either the Rax or Fadeaway for this specific setup, that the action skill start Frozen Heart was just the best option. The Hex is going to be the best option for grenades, and of course we are running a Terror setup, so we have the Apply Terror after action skill end. The two comms that we can use are either the Deadeye or the Rat Commander. The Rat Commander is a very solid option between these two because you get an extra rack attack charge. You can use that to take advantage of the Frozen Heart and take a lot of advantage of area of effect and freezing. The Deadeye is a great bossing option for this setup, especially if you want to run like the Reflux or the Garcia, get all of those pellets going and take advantage of two-thing. I did decide to go with the Snowdrift Victory Rush, just for a little bit more movement speed and the damage from the Victory Rush. So with that, let's get into the skills. Like I said, we are doing a mashup of both Fadeaway and Rack Attack. For Fadeaway, we're running Gorillas and Not My Circus, and for Rack Attack, we are running the Flock and Load and Rack Accelerate. So we pick up 5 and 5 out of Planetary Stalker for the extra damage and pet damage, 3 in Leave No Trace for the extra ammo chance, 2 in Second Intention for the reload speed, 5 in Hunter's Eye for the critical hit damage and armor damage, 3 in Head Count for the cooldown reduction. We don't actually pick up any in Two-Fang. The 2 in Two-Fang here is coming from our Deadeye comm that we have equipped. 3 in Big Game for the Hunter skill duration and effects. 3 in Most Dangerous Game for the gun damage. 1 in Galactic Shadow for the critical hit damage. And of course, since we are running a gun build, we are picking up Megavore for our critical hit chance. 5 in Furious Attack for the gun damage, 5 in Eager to Impress for the cooldown, 1 in All My BFFs for some health regeneration, 1 in Overclocked for the fire rate, 1 in Lick the Wounds so that pet does have a chance to revive us, 2 in Turn Tail and Run for the health regeneration, and the gun damage while we're standing still. So basically, whenever you are moving, you're going to get some health regeneration and some damage reduction. However, whenever you're standing still, you'll get fire rate and gun damage, so it does help out quite a bit whenever you're using Fadeaway and going between Fadeaway. And we do pick up 2 out of 3 in Fast and Furious for the gun damage and pet damage. Nothing in Purple Tree. Pick up 3 in Persistent Hunter for the gun damage, 1 in Go for the Eyes for the pet critical hit damage, and 1 in Ferocity for the pet damage. 1 in Who Rescued Who for the health regeneration, 3 in He Bites, and that's going to be a really big one whenever we're using Rat Commander. So when we are using Rat Commander, we want to take advantage of He Bites, and cycling that for fights like Anathema. 5 in Frenzy for the extra damage, 2 in Hive Mind to basically share damage in between the pet and give pet some extra damage. 1 in Psycho Head on a stick for the extra pet damage, 5 in Barbaric Yop so that we get some extra bonuses from our pet, and specifically since we are using elemental weapons, we are using the Spider Ant Scorcher, which with Barbaric Yacht gives us 30% extra damage whenever we're using elemental damage. 3 Impact Tactics for the extra damage and max health for both us and the pet. And Dominance. Dominance is great for distracting enemies, but also Dominance does help proc off of the reflux. So whenever you're using your reflux, you can tie to yourself and the pet and get some extra, as our friend Witch would call it, noodles in between each other.
Noodles.
All right, and with that, guys, I do always like to point out that I do have everything in the Guardian rank tree. So if you don't have Hollow Point and you don't have Groundbreaker, you are going to see some damage decrease there, just because when those go off, they do some pretty crazy things. So with that, guys, let's get into the mobbing and the bossing section for this, and we'll see you on the other side. Alright, guys, that has been the mobbing and bossing. I hope you enjoyed the build overall. If you are on PC and you'd like to get your hands on the save file, have some fun, you can find a link to the Discord down below. There will be a section called Save Files where you can download this link. If you have any other ideas you'd like to see in Borderlands 3 before Wonderlands comes out, let me know. I'd be more than happy to take a look. If you have any other ideas you'd like to share, I'd be more than happy to take a look at those as well. With that, guys, I've been your local sassy SwinLaw. Stay classy, Pandora.